But first, what's really happening in the Ukrainian-Russian crisis, and why does it matter to us? There are three leading theories doing the rounds: a Russian invasion and occupation of more of Ukraine, more jaw diplomacy, as leaders' diaries are certainly bulging with meetings next week, or a mighty reset, which to all intents and purposes is a matter of post-Cold War unfinished business. Everyone is talking down war, but with more than 125,000 Russian troops along their border with Ukraine, and even more in Belarus, Russia's ally, the makings are there, with aircraft aplenty and warships on manoeuvres. According to experts, a cyber war is already underway. On jaw the diplomacy, the United Nations meets on Monday. Boris Johnson is going to talk to President Putin early next week, and his Foreign Secretary and Defence Secretary are both going to Moscow. The Americans and the Russians are talking and drafting papers. The problem is that they all know the sticking point, Ukraine's desire to join NATO, probably can't be finessed. Talk of sanctions, exclusion from global financial systems, the blocking of a new gas pipeline, and threats to the estimated £70 billion of dirty Russian money in London might work. Putin is essentially a bit of a rogue who's supported by dodgy businessmen and women whose interests he serves and protects. On the last theory, a post-Cold War reset, in the 1960s and 70s, I grew up with RAF V bombers at the bottom of my garden, ready to go at 4 minutes' notice to drop nuclear weapons on Russian soil. It was the Soviet Union in those days. In the late 1980s, I saw Gorbachev come to power, and I reported on his attempts to end the Cold War. I was in Iceland when he and Ronald Reagan made huge strides in nuclear disarmament. Then, in 1989, I reported live on the fall of the Berlin Wall, following Gorbachev's refusal to intervene on behalf of East Germany's Communist Party. I saw the generals try to oust Gorbachev, the advent of Yeltsin, his deals with the oligarchs, to sell off much of Russia's state wealth, to keep him in power and to keep the country going. And I saw his fall, and then the emergence of Vladimir Putin. Now, defeat in the Cold War hurt and humiliated Russia. Soviet Russia's old allies grasped freedom and rushed to join, or try to join, NATO, and the EEC as it was, then the EU. Most succeeded, but Ukraine was a step too far for Putin. Russia's never really accepted Ukraine as a nation. They've always seen it as an adjunct to Mother Russia. They want it, or, as they might say, they want to have it and keep it. As Armed Forces Minister James Heappey said in The Telegraph this morning, Putin wants the countries of the former Warsaw Pact to return to the fold. But Ukraine won't budge, and for Putin, that is the problem. So, where are you putting your money in what the diplomats call this great game? I'm delighted to be joined by former Deputy Prime Minister Damian Green, a Russian exile who used to work in the Kremlin and is now a political analyst, an intelligence analyst, and Sir Christopher Mayer, former UK ambassador to the United States, who also worked in Downing Street. They will offer their views, I will offer mine, but we all want to hear yours as well. So do email me at gbviews@gbnews.uk, tweet or go to Facebook, and I will read out the very best.